feature?
Very much. It's very important things for every church to have as many as icon as is possible. All the icons here representing for the saints, for the martyrs who actually died and killed during the early persecutions era, during the Roman times. So the Coptic Church is very rich with icons because it has a lots of people, or lots of people were actually killed, and they became saints in the Coptic actually faith, or in the Coptic Synaxariums, which is a book, which is it's a compilation of book which has most of the names and the titles and of the martyrs who actually died during this time, or during the early Roman persecution time.
So if you can tell us also, Amin, about the story of having a floating Bible over the Nile.
Well, this is an amazing story. It's back to 1967, when the people actually who were gathered inside the church were actually attended the mass, and they were just as they were coming out directly after the mass finished, they have noticed kind of object was actually coming floating on the river Nile, and it wasn't actually seen or clearly from where they were, because the Nile was further to the below, and they couldn't see what exactly there. Some of them, they went down and they started to look at, and they found it was a book, and after they discovered it was a book, they tried hardly to grab it from the Nile and bring it to the church. And what a surprise, they found that the book was actually, it's the Bible, and it's heavy. It's about 8 kilogram of Bible. It's not a light Bible, a light book. And it's another thing, how could this 8 kilogram of book can be coming floating on the ripple of the Nile? That was very extremely amazing for a lot of people. Later on, after they checked the Bible, they found that it was opened on a chapter Isaiah, blessed by people of Egypt. That was another significant, that was a divine action. It was not, the Bible was not placed, or it was not left by a human or by anybody. So it was a sign for the Christian at this place, that's to strengthen them and to go forward and to never forget about their faith and their creeds in Christian.
And that's in 1967.
Yes. And now the book is still inside the chapel, and it's behind the boxes. You can see the verses, blessed my people of Egypt.
Yeah.
That's another thing that we all should be proud, that God chosen us to have this place and to have this Bible, and to place us and to give us that much grace. We have it today.
It's interesting how the church here actually is rich in its icons. So we have a variety of icons, starting from icons of the Holy Virgin carrying baby
Exactly.
Jesus. We have Saint Damiana. We have also Saint Anthony and Saint Paul sharing the bread, Saint Peter, and so many. Now, what are the main or most important characteristic features of the Coptic icon?
The Coptic icon is very special, and it's very different from any Byzantines or any Ethiopians or Russians. You know, they have many schools in icons, but the Coptic icon is still one of its kind. Regarding the shape of the icons, there is like a rules should be applied by the artist when he's starting drawing an icons, such as praying the Ashbeya or the verbs. He has to pray for that during his involving in drawing the icons. The colors also, it's referring to every color refers to something, and it's very significant and symbolic for something. Yes. For example, like the red color is for the blood of the martyrs. So the blood here on the icons, it's regarding the killing or the blood shedding that's happened by the Romans. Also the shapes of the faces, you will see it. It's very. You will never find any drawing of a body represented in a portrait, in a profile. They all presented in portrait or a frontal face, which is referred to actually to clearance or to confrontation, which is means that all the saints had confronted the death happily, and they never scared to be killed, because they were very much believed in their beliefs. So they never scared, or they never been afraid of in front of the death. So also the golden there is a golden colors added to the icons, and some egg yolk for fixations are actually used. And when we talk about egg yolk fixations here and some of the techniques, it's carried from the ancient Egyptian temples and tombs. It's the same Egyptian style the ancient Egyptian used, carried by the Christians in their icons when they started to draw their icons as well.
Yes. What are the evidences on the stop, the Holy Family stop here in the church?
Actually, we have many evidences, but there is no such a strong things that you can say it's a great evidence. But we have a story back to the early centuries by Pope Theophilus. He's one of the Coptic popes who had a dream or a vision about where and from where and how they started the journey of the Holy Family. And according to his vision, the Virgin Mary had narrated to him the places, the spots, and the sites that they have journeyed through all over Egypt, even the actions where they stayed, miracles, events, things that happened during their stay when Jesus was a baby, and when he was 2 years, and then when he was 3 years, because as I said, he'd been here for 4 years. So during 4 years, a lot of actions and a lot of events happened. That's never been written in the Bible, never been mentioned in any other books, except what Pope Theophilus mentioned and written in his book about the place. One of the evidence was his confession in his book about coming to this place. That was one of the strongest evidence we have about the coming of the Holy Family to here, to Maadi.
But we have evidence of them in Egypt, because we have in the Bible the instructions of the archangel to take Joseph into Egypt, and then we have also evidence out of Egypt.
Behold my son.
Behold my son, and then it's mentioned that it's because they left Egypt when Herod died, and that means that if we calculate the time, and actually there are even the Babylonian calendar and the stars, it tells us when Jesus was born, and then after calculate how long when Herod died, and that's when we can determine when the Holy Family left Egypt. Isn't that true?
This is very true, but the things that, as you said, Archangel, after he came and he said his prophecy to Joseph, and ordering him or commanding him to take the baby and his child to go to Egypt. From here, we have no further evidence about where in Egypt the Holy Family started the journey, where they stopped, where they have hidden. For this is never mentioned in the Bible. It was only mentioned by the tradition or the oral tradition story, which is narrated by Pope Theophilus.
But yes, also the residents of certain areas.
Of course, this is one of the
goes back to the history.
We can say that's like mouse to mouse or generation to generation stories, which is carried out by a lot of people and Copts who lived within this area during this time.
Definitely. Finally, Amin Yousry, a tourist guide, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us and for all of the information and the insights. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we'll be moving to a short break and returning back with more.